Welcome guys, welcome to another episode of the family table, and today I'll be doing pumpkin pone. It's not as popular as its cousin the cassava pone, but it's still amazing. So if you love pumpkin, you love coconut, it is really amazing. So that's why I wanted to reintroduce this recipe back onto people, because I feel like a lot of people really appreciate how good this can be. So I want you guys to follow me along the journey as we recreate something which is awesome. So yes, but just before we get into it, I just need to make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, because I will be bringing you more amazing content. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video. Make sure you share, and at the end, make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what you think and what you'd like to see me make next. So now let's get into it. Okay, so for our pumpkin pone, I have 600 grams of fresh pumpkin that I've washed and grated. 320 grams of fresh coconut, grated coconut. 1.5 cup of granulated white sugar, 1 cup of fine cornmeal, and this is 100 grams of butter. You can use 100 or margarine. About 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of ground mixed spice, 2 teaspoons of ground nutmeg, and in this I have 2 tablespoons of cinnamon powder. So I like to put a lot of spice in this, and some vanilla to taste. I actually have 2 tablespoons of vanilla essence or vanilla extract, because I find that this one isn't that strong, but if you have like an extra strength, you can only use 1 or just adjust it to your taste. So that's all the ingredients we're gonna need, and now I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so now we're gonna mix the pone. So I'm just gonna start off by adding the coconut to this. So you just want to get everything out of the container, and I'm just gonna start mixing this. Well, and I'm gonna add the cornmeal, and just want to incorporate the 3 of these in together. So you can start off by using a spoon to mix, but you guys already know what it's gonna be. For me, I'm gonna use my hands, because I feel like you just get a better mix when you use your hands. You just want to incorporate all together. Just evenly mix that pumpkin, that coconut, and that cornmeal. Depending on the pumpkin you get, you might find some might produce a lot more liquid than some. Some are very dry, but that's okay. So now you can feel it's a dryish mix at this point in time, but that's okay. And now what we're going to do is just add that salt. That salt is going to help to bring out the flavor in the pumpkin and the coconut. So look at that. It's already getting there. So now what we're going to do is to add the butter or the margarine. So just use your favorite type. This is unsalted, because in certain recipes you want to be able to control the amount of salt in which you have in them. So yeah, so adding the butter to the mix will help create a nice, soft, dense, flavorful, and you know butter just adds flavor. So as Paula Deen used to say, everything tastes better with butter, y'all. But yes, so, and you want to make sure that if you're going to mix this with your hands, that you've washed your hands and everything's all clean. This is already starting to smell great, and we've not even added the spices nor the sugar. So yeah, so at this point I'm just gonna add all the spices in. So that cinnamon, just get all of that out. You can tone down the amount of spices in which you use, but I just love to make sure when I'm eating this that you can taste all of those spices, and they add a bit more depth and warmth to the dish. So just gonna mix this in. And you can tell we've added a lot because you can see the massive amount of brownness which has been added to this, but that's fine. And the pumpkin I had was not as rich in colors, like you might see some that's very deep in yellow, but that's fine, that's fine. So now I've mixed all of the spices in. It is smelling amazing. So now what we are going to do is to add the vanilla and the sugar. So I'm just gonna add the vanilla and just add that sugar. And this is granulated white sugar. You can use brown sugar if you like. I just prefer using granulated white sugar whenever I'm using it in any of my recipes. So if you guys could only smell this, this is smelling so awesome. And this is something growing up I ate in Guyana, but I think a lot of people forget about this because the cassava pone is so much more popular, which it is amazeballs. But so is this. So just trying to get people to remember that awesome, that goodness, and to try something new, because sometimes we have pumpkin and we don't know what to do with that pumpkin. So yeah, so now this is fully mixed and this is done. So I'm gonna wash my hands and then I'll show you to the next step what we do. So now that you've completely finished mixing the pone, what you need to do is to get yourself a baking dish and grease it. I've greased mine with a bit of butter very liberally, and you just want to put the contents or the pone into the pan. Depending on how thick or how thin you want it, the smaller the pan, the thicker it will be. The larger the pan, you'll get, the thinner it will be. So we're just gonna put this into the pan and spread it out evenly. Okay, so now I've added the pone mixture to the baking tray. I've used an offset spatula and just evenly smooth it all out. So what I'm going to do now is to put this into my oven, which I've preheated at 180 degrees. I'm going to cover this with foil paper and allow it to bake. What we're going for and why I'm doing it in this, you want it to basically form like a crust, we should say. So you should see it around the edges start to become very brown. The bottom of it, you can bake this in an aluminum pan, whatever different kind of baking pans you get, but I just like to make sure that it's golden brown. Once you see that starts to brown, I'll take the foil off, allow the top to crisp up also, and then now I'm gonna allow this to bake, and then I'll show you what I think. It can vary depending on your oven, because no oven is the same and some oven temperature may vary. So in some oven it might take an hour, some might take an hour and a half, or some might just take 50 minutes. So it's just depending on the oven in which you have. So I'm gonna pop this in and then show you the finished product. Okay, so the pone is out of the oven. Mine took a bit over an hour. So now it's still really hot. You can see that it has pulled away from the sides of the pan. and the edges are very crusty and the top is still pretty firm. It's not like, so it is set at the moment. So what we're gonna do is just wait for this to cool before we cut it, and you guys can see the final outcome of this, because it's still piping hot. So if you cut it, it won't hold its perfect shape as if you cut it into squares. So you just want it to just cool for a bit till it's either warm or cool, and then you just cut it, and then you'll be able to enjoy it. But yes, so we'll be back when it's cooled a bit and I'll show you guys. So I've allowed the pumpkin pone to cool, and I've cut it into different sizes. So this is what you call a middle piece, which is my favorite. A lot of people love the end piece, as you guys can see, where it has formed that crust. A lot of people love that, and you can see it's all set, still very moist. It holds together lovely, and it smells wonderful. I've been picking on it while I was cutting it because it was so delicious. But I do hope you guys try this recipe, and trust me, you will love it. If you have pumpkin and you want to try something different, or coconut and some coconut, why not? Go ahead. So just before we go, I need you guys to make sure that you are subscribed to this channel, because we have a lot more content that'll be coming your way. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button on this video. Make sure you share it on all your social media platforms. Share it with everyone you know, or your family and friends. And you get down in that comment section and let me know what you think and what else you'd like to see me make. So, with that being said, bye!
Been waiting so long